Hello. Welcome to how to use a router as a network storage server. I use a solid-state drive for data storage. Of course, you should have a large capacity drive to optimize file storage. I use a NETGEAR router as a network storage server. Make sure your router has a USB port. To connect the solid-state drive to the router, you use a USB to SATA converter cable. Before connecting the solid-state drive to the router, you connect it to the computer. Why do you have to connect it to the computer? Because before using it as a storage hard drive, you should create a partition and format it. You can't do it with the router. On the computer, I use Disk Manager. I delete all the old partitions on the drive. On the solid-state drive, I create a single partition. After finishing formatting the solid-state drive, you remove the drive from the computer. Next, you connect the hard drive to the router via USB. I use an adapter cable to connect the solid-state drive to the router. On the computer connected to the router via cable or wireless, I access the management page using the IP address. On the management page, you can easily find Ready Share. This is a feature that helps you build a file server. The router automatically scans and detects your solid-state drive. By default, you can access shared resources without a password. I will upload a file to test the results. This is a simple, cost-effective way to build a file server yourself. Very suitable for personal needs. But the downside of this method is slow speed, poor capacity expansion. To ensure data security, I recommend that you protect files with a password when sharing them. You use the same router administrator account to share files. When you change the administrator password, the file sharing password also changes. This way is more secure. As you can see, to access shared folders, I have to use an account. Your files are more secure when sharing over the network. Router supports FTP service. You use FTP service to share files over the internal network or over the internet. I test the service in the internal network and over the internet in turn. At the end, I will guide you how to access the network storage server using a dynamic public IP address. As you can see, I have successfully accessed shared resources from within the internal network or remotely. If you use a dynamic public IP address, you should use a dynamic domain name service. Dynamic domain name service helps update the IP address every time it changes. On the router, you configure the dynamic domain name service. After completing the dynamic domain name service configuration, you use it to access the remote network storage server. The above are the steps to turn a router into a network storage server at a low cost. Very suitable for personal needs or small organizations. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe sign. Good luck.